Welcome back to the graveyard, everybody. My name is Mads, and unfortunately, this video is going to come with a hefty trigger warning. Trigger warning for blatant racism. It's disgusting. I hate it. I wish I didn't have to give that kind of trigger warning on my channel, but after what I saw this morning online, I feel a moral obligation to speak out about this because why is it that minorities are always the ones that have to boost their own voices and have to shout to get people to care about them and listen? Why can't those of us with more privilege openly discuss this, call each other out, and be like, hey, what you just said, it isn't okay. So that's what I'm doing today. A little bit of background that is necessary for this video is the fact that a few years ago, when I wasn't really sure how many events I wanted to do to sell my art, I decided to participate in a weekend market, basically a flea market. It was pretty much just people who made arts and crafts and sold some antiques and some Amish people. That was about it. It was pretty small, and there was a very diverse group of people. For any of you who may not know, I live in a university town. There are a lot of Hispanic people. There are a lot of Asian people. It's just something people are aware of. And no one has a problem with the fact that obviously a lot of the people who are here for school or who have immigrated here to work at the school, if English is not their first language, they usually aren't going to speak English unless they're addressing someone whose first language is English. And there's no reason to them to. If you're not part of the conversation, who cares what language they're speaking? So I'm going to call the owner of the market, Sue, and my friend Rose, who is going to factor into this a little bit. So Rose is a Puerto Rican immigrant, as is her husband. And they were some of those people that while we were at the market, they were just a joy to be around. And my fiance and I ended up getting really, really close to them and becoming friends outside of the confines of the market and stuff. After a while, a lot of us started realizing that Sue, well-intentioned as a businesswoman, should not be someone who owns a business. It's kind of frightening how much she was absolutely burning her own business to the ground. Not only could she not accept any kind of critique, I mean, no matter how nice you were when you were discussing stuff with her, even if you didn't say anything negative about her or the way she ran her business, if you mentioned any other market you've been to and how they did certain things that were more successful than hers, she would literally just start crying. She would just start turning on the waterworks and no one could talk to her anymore because she just couldn't handle anything. You need to have a titanium spine if you're going to own any kind of business. I don't care if there's only one employee. I don't care if it's teeny tiny microscopic and you've only made 30 sales the whole time. Titanium spine or don't be a business owner. Because people need to be able to critique you. If they can't critique you and help you grow and change over time, you're going to stagnate and your business is going to die. And that's what started happening after a while. Rose and I talked about it and we were like, listen, she's not listening to anybody. It's getting frustrating. It's been weeks since anyone came into the market. I think we need to call it quits with this. Like, we're just hemorrhaging money into it at this point, and I don't know, but it's over. So Rose was the first one to leave out of all of us, and things got really weird with Sue. So she had a Facebook Messenger group for all of the vendors so we could bounce off ideas with each other and help each other advertise our stuff and events coming up and just things like that. It's pretty normal. And when Rose left the market, Sue started calling her incessantly, 4 times a day, texting her nonstop, sending her Facebook messages. And when she couldn't get a hold of her, she started bothering me to go bother Rose and was just like, you're friends with her outside the market. You need to get a hold of her. I don't know where she is. I don't know if she's coming back. I really want her stuff at my market. And I was like, this is weird. When you have a flea market, you kind of expect that there won't be many permanent people. Maybe some of them will if they do really well, but a lot of us are kind of nomadic and we just go from market to market selling our stuff. It was really bizarre behavior. And I was like, yeah, I'm not super comfortable with that. So I told Rose what was going on, and she was like, what the hell is wrong with this woman? And so, yeah, she was like, I'm done. And a little while later, I left too. Now, when I left, I didn't remember to delete Sue or a couple of the other people we met at the market. We're still friends with some of them. And Sue was kind of one of those out of sight, out of mind type of people on your profile where I never really remembered she was even there unless she happened to post something and I saw it. And it was usually just either positive reviews about small businesses in the area or just family posts. It was never anything huge. Well, she started doing some controversial shit towards the end of my time there and after I left. The first controversial thing that Sue did was during a state election, she allowed an incredibly right-wing politician's followers to set up a table at a flea market to earn money for his campaign and his campaign alone. Now, this was someone who was openly saying that he was going to declare queer marriage against the law. He was going to make it so trans people could not transition. He was going to do everything he could to basically make being queer illegal. And it was 2 points that were frankly dangerous. And a lot of us voiced our opinion that we were like, listen, this needs to be an all or none. First off, there really isn't a reason for anything political to exist at a flea market. This is not the place for that. It doesn't make sense here. People are here for arts and crafts. They're not here to back a politician, and they shouldn't be here for that. And instead of saying, you know what, you're right, guys, it doesn't really make sense for this to exist in this space, she doubled down and didn't allow the opposing side to have a table there. So that's incredibly alienating. You can't have one and not the other. And like I said, it doesn't make sense for either of them to really be there, honestly. So a lot of people who are queer or who were close to queer people decide to leave as well. And of course, she's just, oh, I'm so sad. Why does nobody care about small businesses? People do care about small businesses when they're not being openly bigoted. Well, again, I'd totally forgotten after that incident that she was even on my Facebook until this morning. This morning, a woman posted something in a local group for kind of moms watching out for other moms. And I'm going to just insert a TikTok of mine that I did this morning about this because in it, I actually read the entire post and I've since blocked Sue and you'll understand why, so I can't read it again. All of us at some point on TikTok have seen the videos of people saying, oh, I was shopping at Target and I swear like there's a trafficking ring or something. I swear someone was trying to kidnap me or kidnap my kid or something. And we've also seen the stitches to these videos from experts in, the field that helps people get out of kidnapping, stops people from getting kidnapped and stuff, as well as people who were kidnapping survivors chiming in and saying, listen, the chances of someone getting kidnapped at Target are slim to none because first off, most people who are kidnapped, it's done so by someone close to them. Just like, unfortunately, things like violence, rape, murder, horrible things like that, usually, not always, but usually are committed by someone very close to the person that has to go through those horrible acts. On top of it, it's kind of weird, like when you really think about it, how public Target is, because it's always Target for some reason, how public Target is, and the fact that everyone in America knows that they have cameras literally everywhere. Every corner of that place, even where you don't see a camera, there's probably a camera hidden there someplace. Only the stupidest criminal on the face of the planet would try to kidnap someone at a Target. 9 times out of 10, what happens is these people are seeing someone who is socially awkward or maybe is just interested in what you're doing or what someone in your group is doing, and they're just not realizing that they're coming off weird. I know that I've had that issue in the past. My lovely brand of the Tism isn't the type that can't make eye contact. I make too much eye contact to the point where it makes people uncomfortable, and I don't even realize I'm staring sometimes. I have to rein myself in or be reined in sometimes because I'm just intrigued by something. And unfortunately, little kids happen to be, a prime target for people just being intrigued by something they're doing. They're cute, they're small, they're usually accidentally doing something cute or hilarious when they're in public, so it's understandable that when you have yourself and your small children out in public, people are going to look at them if they think that they're cute. Now, I'm bringing all that up because I saw on a public group for moms watching out for each other around where I live that someone made one of those Target posts where they're like absolutely positive that someone was trying to kidnap their child, and there's something in it I've also noticed in a lot of the TikTok videos as well as other posts from other areas, and it's that people usually, not 100% of the time, but they usually don't mention white people watching their kids. It's stuff like, there was an Asian man, and I think he was speaking Mandarin or something, so I couldn't understand him, and he just wouldn't stop looking at my kid. Or, in this case, I'm going to read this one to you. Buckle up, it's about to be long. Tonight around 6 p.m., my mom, myself, and my toddler were in a Target. We were leaving the toy section when we noticed a group of, all caps, Hispanic men standing in the main aisle between toys and electronics. I immediately noticed they didn't have any items, and they were talking Spanish to each other, then split up. I kept an eye out, and we went about our business in the store. I then noticed a heavier set guy, probably in his mid to late 30s, wearing bright red Adidas pants everywhere we were, but not even acting like he was purchasing anything. Bedding, kids' clothes, toys, the front of a store, etc. I told my mom, and lo and behold, he was standing a few aisles down with his head sticking out of the aisle watching us. We went back to the toys with an associate, and he, a friend, and another were spread out through the back aisle of the toys, talking to each other in Spanish while watching my toddler. I then decided I was going to get security, so we walked out the front of the store, and their entire group met me at the front and walked out. We notified everyone that needed to be notified, and they're pulling the cameras. This lasted from 6 to 6:25. That's the original post. It has been edited since. And what's interesting is, first off, Hispanic is not the word she originally used. She used a very different word. And people got pissed about it and were like, first off, what does them being Hispanic and speaking Spanish have to do with anything? Because for anyone who does not know, I'd rather not say exactly where I am, but I live in a college town, and we have a lot of students from various ethnic backgrounds. Not to mention there are a lot of Hispanic people who work at the university. It's not unusual. There's a lot of Peruvian, there's a lot of Mexican people, there's a lot of Puerto Ricans. It's just a thing here. And whether you're in the privacy of your own home or in public, if English is not your first language and you are not trying to speak to a native English speaker, why can't you just use your own language? This happens constantly. There's also a lot of people from the Middle East here, and a lot of East Asian people, and people behave the same way with them, where it's like, if they're speaking their own native language, they must be up to no good, it must be something sketchy, and it's like, 9 times out of 10, guys, they're just talking about their day. It really isn't a big deal. And this girl got ratioed hard, as she should have been, because people were like, why do you think they're abducting your child or trying to, just because for a half hour they happen to occupy the same space as you? There's not, ironically, being a university town, there's not much for people to do around here. So Target tends to be a hangout spot. There isn't much else. The malls are basically dead these days. So when people have nothing to do and time to kill, they just walk around Target and don't buy anything. I have done that several times with my fiance, and no one bats an eye when it's the two of us. Interesting. But as soon as it's someone who is perceived as speaking Spanish, it's an issue. And this person says, edit. I thought I would be nice and post this in group for awareness. Apparently, I'm making the story up. Ignorant and racist, since I listed their race and language they were speaking. Apparently, this is normal behavior. I hope none of their children are ever victims of sex trafficking and child abduction. So as you can see, everyone in the comments of her original post was like, people speak Spanish all the time around here, and there's a shit ton of Hispanic people. It's not unusual. Why are you being weird? And again, it just sounds like they were standing around, and maybe they thought the kid was adorable and were talking about it. If anyone who looked like me was standing around and just being like, hi, cutie, oh, what toy are you looking at? No one would bat an eye. And she's not listening. Clearly, she's not listening to people saying, hey, you might want to take this post down. This isn't helping anyone. It's a very secure target because it's a university town. Nothing's ever going to happen. Like, these people hang around here all the time. Like, they're known in this space. They're not sketchy. And then she also says, another edit, I just received a message from someone else in the same group of men. They were Elsewhere, this morning doing the same thing. Since so many people are offended, the very triggering word has been changed to Hispanic. So we can see that intentions were not good with this. Everyone was telling her she needed to just get over this and chill out, and that it wasn't a big deal, that they know who these guys are. This is just what they do, and they have downtime to hang out at Walmart and they hang out at Target. Leave them the hell alone. No, she is desperately trying to convince everyone that she can that these guys are sex trafficking. Again, I ask two questions for anyone who has made posts like this in the past. One, why would they pick a Target? It is so secure. There are so many cameras. What benefits them about being caught if they're trying to sell someone into sex trafficking? And two, why is it almost always a non-white person these posts are made about? If you just listened to that entire TikTok and you still think there was nothing wrong with that woman's post, I want you to delete me on every social media platform. I don't want you to talk to me. I don't want you to give me your opinions on the situation or try to make excuses, because it was blatant, open racism. That's literally what it was. You can't take it any other way. You aren't swaying me to your side if you think it wasn't. Just leave now, because I don't want racists in my orbit. I'm not okay with that shit. It's disgusting. Not only was it appalling to me that Sue actually reposted this, but she actually put a sentence above the post that stated that she wholeheartedly agreed with everything in that post. I didn't mention it fully in the TikTok, but one of the later edits right before I blocked Sue today was the woman saying exactly where that group of men was seen, down to the town and the actual Walmart center, because she was hoping they would get jumped when they literally did nothing but stand around talking to each other in a Target. It is a very small town here. All there is to do is stand around at Target and Walmart. We don't have a hell of a lot. Even our park is basically empty and just trees at this point. So I was disgusted. Not only because it was racist and gross in the first place, but Rose is on her Facebook. Rose can see that. Rose is currently going through an enormous health problem, a really scary one that tends to kill people, and she just got the added stress of seeing someone she thought was her friend posting something openly racist against her specific minority, her race. I can't imagine how fucked up that must feel. And not to mention, my brother-in-law and my 1-year-old niece are also Hispanic. I don't like seeing that shit. And even if they weren't, even if I knew absolutely zero people who were of Hispanic ethnicity, it's still gross and it's still unacceptable and I still hate it. There is no excuse for racism. I don't even know what I want to get out of this video. I just need to get this out of my system because I'm tired of the fact that this stuff happens and people are silent. It's making me crazy. It's always them needing to stand up for themselves, and more of us who look like me need to throw our hat into this ring and say, racism is bad, and if you partake in it, I don't care how many years I've known you. I don't care if you've always been good to me. I don't care if you've been an absolute sweetheart to me and helped me in my worst moments. If you're racist, fuck you, goodbye. And that's what I did today, and I have no regrets. I'm not upset about the years of friendship at all because she's a horrible fucking person. That's it. I don't know. That's all I got for the video. I just needed to get it out. But I guess do something that makes you happy today, so long as you're not a fucking racist piece of shit, and I'll see you all again soon.